Afternoon guys, here we are on the yellow course at Frilford. It's a great place to come and do your practice for your short game, especially pitching. All the holes ranging between 39 and 78 yards. So this is where I come and do my pitching work and work on trying to create spin and control yardage. Two things you must need if you want to really spin the ball when you play is you need to have a specialist wedge. So that's something that's not from your set, something that has a degree on the bottom, good quality. This is my Mac Daddy 4. It's a rusty raw head which spins a little more, and you need a golf ball with a urethane cover. That will help you spin lots and lots and lots just with equipment on its own. I'm going to look at some tips actually just to try and help you get a little bit more control of your ball flight and your spin. What I see most commonly with people with pitching is two things will happen. One, they find it very difficult to control distance, and two, they control the distance and the power through their arms and their hands and their body. And what we're going to try and do is try and get away from the old, I would say old-fashioned, slightly different technique where you're trying to hit down on the ball and be really steep. You know, this kind of aim left, hit down and across. You know, not very easy to control spin, direction, and a number of other things. So we're going to have a little look at how to create more spin and how to hit it straighter, how to lower the flight of your shots so they actually can bounce a few times before they spin, rather than throwing straight up into the air where you're adding lots of lofts all over the place. If you think about a golf ball and the way that you're creating friction and you're creating spin, very much like a tennis racket and a tennis ball. You know, if you just hit down on the ball, whether it's a tennis racket, if you just hit down to start with, it's going to decrease the loft and you'll hit it quite high on the club face, so you'll only get the friction of 4 or 5 grooves rather than potentially sort of 9 or 10. The more you hit down on it to start with, the more you're going to just hit it further, and it's going to be really difficult to control the difference in strike up and down the face and difference in yardage. The other thing you'll see is that when you start getting a lot of shaft lean, the difference between your hands, your sternum and where the ball is, that line could be all over the place. So you could have your sternum back and your hands forwards, you could have it vice versa and the handle back and the chest forwards, and you're going to get some very inconsistent strikes. So there's just a couple of bits really that I want to look at. The first bit we're going to do is go down the grip. So you're going to go down to a control point sort of right to the end of the grip for me, so that your arms are able to hang a little more. Ball position is going to be just left of centre with a relatively narrow stance. The start width to change relative to the length of shot. 40-yard shot, very narrow. 80-yard shot, closer to shoulder width again, so like a normal shot. Only real focus on this particular one is we're trying to keep the radius of the circle and the size of your circle constant. So I don't want to see lots of wrists, I don't want to see lots of twisting of the body. This is all about trying to keep things quieter. You'll have some natural hinge of the wrists, but just let them go wherever they need to. So the club is trying to extend on the arc in the same way all the way through. So you're trying to get a longer, lower impact position. You're trying to take the longest divot you can. And when you finish, that arc should still remain the same. And that will stop you trying to add speed and sort of changing the direction of the club. The final bit you've got to make sure that happens is when you're pointing in the direction of the hole, you don't want to be aiming left. You don't want to be aiming left with your feet and the ball back and the club face here and trying to swing across it and then go and hit a driver on the next hole and try and do something different. I would love you to try and feel like you're aiming actually a little bit to the right, if anything, but mainly straight, ball forwards, right down the grip here, and instead of cutting it across with your body, I need it to feel like you're actually getting a little push draw. So you're actually trying to create an arc where the club head goes a little to the right and the hands stay in front of the body. And so as you move through the ball, you're getting the club launching the ball much lower, getting lots of spin, and the arc is staying the same length all the way through. And it shouldn't look like this one, where you're pulling down and across, very hard to get the strike. It should look much more like you're trying to lengthen the radius going through. So as you move through right down on the grip, you're going to do nice and smooth. You're turning the club through. It just helps you get the right feel to try and create more spin. On the way through the ball, you're here, so you're much longer, trying to launch the ball lower and try and spin it a little bit more through the strike. Have a little go and try a system where you do different length swings rather than adding power through the hands or the body. See how you get on.